2.1 continued, and we're just going to do another graph example. Okay, I've gotten a few questions about this type as you guys have been working, so I want to go over it with you. So let's do h of x. The letter is not important. It just any letter is fine. Okay, let's do 2x plus 3, and this time we'll say x is not equal to, because we've seen that notation before, not equal to -1, and we'll say 5 for x equals -1. So I'm going to think of the endpoints that I have. I don't really have endpoints, but this part right here, okay, really means x to the left of -1 and x to the right of -1. It's everything except -1. That means that that line has to go to the left and the right. So I will make my table, okay, and it's just going to have -1 in it twice, okay? And I'll color code so we can keep them separate, okay? So this one, okay, we'll go with this one. And that's basically the only point that I have. I know it's not equal to, that just means an open circle because it's not including, okay? And for this second piece here, this is a filled in dot, and the y-coordinate is 5. Okay, so that's pretty much all the information I have to go off of. Okay, so -1, 5, so that's there. Okay, got it, yes.
So how do you already know it's included?
Say it again.
How do you already know it's included?
See here the equals, that's what's telling me that this is the included point. Okay, so see here the less than and the greater than, that's not including because there's no equals. Okay, now I'm going to work on the pink line. The pink line is this, 2x plus 3. There's a couple different ways you can try to graph this. Okay, I can plug in -1 and I get 1, which is an open point. And then I need to count this slope to the left and to the right of that point, both directions. So it's kind of like you have to graph two lines, one to the left and one to the right. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to count to the right first. Up to, okay, so that's my first step. Okay, so that's the part to the right. But you're not done, because that was this part. Now I need to count to the left. So that not equal to, it's kind of tricky because this really means x less than -1, x more than -1. So you've got two directions to go from that one endpoint. Okay. Questions?
Close enough.
The yellow one is the same thing greater than equal to. That's literally like that. When it says not equal, it says any number. So what is excluded from it?
That would have been. I spent enough time in tights.
Yes, yeah, but, so this is the
That's
one
on
point that we got, -1.5.
So I only own pink.
Okay, so you're okay with the second line? Okay, then I have to graph this line
Miss Pam.
everywhere except, so that's why I found the one point that's not included, and then I counted my slope from there. Notice how it goes through the y-intercept of 3, to the right and to the left. Yeah, so you could replace the not equal to with the inequality, which helps you know that it has to go to the left and the right. Yeah. Oh, okay, when I plugged in -1, I get -2 plus 3 is 1. Yeah.
So then it's positive.
Yes.
Okay, and then. Never mind. That's the back arrow.
But no, you don't want I'm assuming
You have to attach something. So on the calendar, check if you get over to obviously it's already done. But that's more for you and your books, because your parents have access to school. So that's what they would check us out. And sometimes, yes, sometimes they all right, here we go. Now you get to use these super fun, awesome graphs that I just made for you. Okay, so notice that they're numbered 1 and 2. This is our first example. This is our second example. Please only use one of each, okay? So I didn't hand them out everywhere, so if there's 2 of you, you're each going to use them. There might be an extra, so please don't lose them. Okay, so now we're on part D, okay? Writing equations. All right, so writing equations. First step. Highlight or choose each piece. How many pieces? Choose each piece. Okay? Write equation. You know how you just practice writing equations of lines with points and slopes and mx plus b and y1 minus y2. So these are the 2 equations that you can use to write your equations. So that's review. Okay, you're going to choose each piece and you're going to write the equation. The second thing you're going to do is identify the domain, because in Piecewise you have specific domains to work with. Identify the domain. All right, example time. Okay, so I'm going to take my number 1 sticker here, right? If they're numbered, number 1, and we're just going to stick it on, okay? Everyone should have the number 1 example. Okay, share the wealth, okay? If you don't have a sticker on your desk, just look in front of you or behind you, okay? Okay, number 1. So I drew the graphs for you because we want to write the equations of it. And I didn't want to make you graph it and then write it. Okay. Choose each piece. I see 3 pieces. Okay? So I'm just going to highlight just for the colors. You could just outline in a pen, or you could put a little number 1, 2, 3 next to each. Okay? And as I do this, okay, I'm going to just, okay, then I'll have little pink, yellow, okay, and I guess green is better. I'll do green. Okay, so I have 3 pieces here. And I'm going to write on the graph. And I'm going to work with the pink piece first. And I'm just going to write the equation of the pink piece. How do I write the equation? Pick a point and a slope. So as I look at my graph, I'm looking for points that go through the grid lines. Because you need nice points. So you're going to have to look at the graph, and you're going to have to pick out the points that you can actually read off the graph. Go for integer points, okay? So I identified a couple points. It doesn't matter which one you use. Any point will do. Any point will do, okay? I would prefer smaller numbers rather than bigger numbers, so I think I'm just going to go with this one here. -4, 1. That's it. Pick any point that is on the grid lines. What do you need to write the equation of a line? A point and a slope. Now pick the slope. Rise over run. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I'm sort of going to put that information together. So I'm working on the pink one here. Y minus y1 slope x minus x1. Okay, and because this is piecewise, I do need it to be in y equals format. So I'm just going to... Okay, so that should sort of look familiar to the writing equations that you did in that review assignment. You can multiply this to mx plus b if you'd like. You don't necessarily have to. Okay. Yellow. All right, so I'm going to work on yellow. We're just going to write the equation of the yellow line. Pick a point. Now, you have 2 choices here. Pick the easy choice, okay? Notice how I actually see the y-intercept here. Go ahead and use it. That's okay. All right, so we've got 0, -1, and the slope is +1. So I picked my point and I picked my slope. Y equals slope. This time, because I happen to have the y-intercept clearly labeled, I chose to use the y equals mx plus b format. Okay? It's not always usable, but sometimes when the line's really neat and it goes right through that y-axis, you can use it. Okay, green. Okay, so scan the line for any integer coordinates you can see. Okay. And just to make a point, I'm going to choose the end point, even though it's open. You can choose an open point on the line. It's still on the line. It's just not included. Okay, and then my slope, rise, run. Oh, I got you. Right, so now I'm going to put those two pieces together and I'm going to write the equation of the green line. This time, because I can't see the y-intercept, I'm just going to do the point slope form. Okay, y minus y slope x minus x. That's just how I've conditioned myself to say the equation. I am going to put it in y equals format though, and I'm going to minus the 1 to the other side. And I'm not going to distribute because I don't really feel like distributing the negative 2/3. Okay. Time to put it together. So I've got the pink part, right? There's the pink. Here's the yellow. And here's the green. It's kind of like 3 problems in one because you had 3 different equations that you were writing. So now I need to put it into the correct format. Y equals curly brace. I like to go left to right. Okay, so I'm going to just start with pink. -2 comma. Now I've got to identify the domain. Well, it starts here at -2 and it goes to the left, less than -2. Now, it appears as though pink and yellow kind of are in the same place. So you decide, do you want to include it? Sure, let's make the pink point included. But as you identify the domain, remember that your x's can't overlap. That means when you're doing the yellow domain, you better not include it. You can only include the x's once. So if you want to put the equals on the pink, you put not equals on the yellow. Okay, so that's a closed point. So this one goes all the way to 2. So when you do the domain, you sort of need to do the domain all at once to make sure that you're only including the x's once. So here, right, yellow, right. Right. And then green. Green starts at 2 and goes to the right. So that is to the right of 2, not included. Okay. and then you just double check your domain and make sure that you're only including the x1s. Equal to -2, not equal. Equal to 2, not equal. Okay. Okay, let's go with the person closest to the window in your little groups here. Okay, person closest to the window. Explain to the person next to you how we got the pink portion. Do you want to scooch over here with Stevie and Sierra? Stevie and Sierra, she's going to join you real quick for this.
That hurts my head. Huh?
Okay, there's that small lull. All right, person closest to the door in the pair, you explain how to do the yellow one to the people next to you. Okay, person closest to the door, explain to the person next to you, how did we do the yellow?
Highest domain or your lowest domain. Inequality.
We ended up our meeting.
Oh yeah, perfect, thank you. All right, there's a small low. Who wants to raise your hand and explain to me how to do the green one? Okay, you can give me one piece. Okay, yes, go for it.
So it's going to be, so x is greater than 2, so it goes to the right, and it continues on. And it's open because it's a greater than sign, and not a greater than.
Okay, perfect. So Stella just explained how to do the domain. Can someone else explain to me how we get this part here? The actual equation? Yep, Gavin.
You pick a point on that line, and then you find the slope, and then you just put those into the formula.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, guys, you just had a little wake me up time while you got to talk. So I'm going to turn my page, and you're going to take the number 2 sticker, and then if you have extras, please return them back to me because I don't want to lose these. Okay. So you take your number 2 sticker, and then if you've got extras, you just can put them here. And there we go. We're going to write the equation of this beautiful graph. Okay. So I'm going to do pink and yellow. There we go. This time I only have 2 pieces. Any extras come back up front so that we don't lose them. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Extra breezy, why is your room so cold and some rooms so warm?
Because it's cold or gross. Those are my only 2 choices. I turn that off for 20 minutes. It takes 4 hours for it to come back to a normal temperature.
That's really nice.
I have 2 options, on or off. cool or warm. So I'll just flip it to warm. That might give us a few degrees.
It's like 40
Would you
degrees.
like a blanket?
It's okay.
Because that's why I keep it here.
Your room and my history room are so cold.
All history rooms.
Because it's an old building. First up, pink, right? I'm going to do the pink one first. Write the equation of a line. Even though you can see the y-intercept, do you know what the y-intercept is? It's between 1 and 2, but that's all I got. So you need to look for integer coordinates. Yep. Statement?
Mine says it intersects
Say that again?
His misprinted, so it doesn't.
No!
Yeah, he went through it. It's the same.
Oh, okay. That's really, it shouldn't have misprinted.
It's barely off.
Yeah, okay, it's barely off. Yes?
Barely off. Mine's also on it.
What? How did that happen? Okay, it looks close, guys, but it's not. Okay? It looks close, but it's not there. It's really close, but not. Okay. So I have 2 points. Okay, I have the point 3, 1, and I have the point -4, 3. Okay, so 2 points. When I write the equation, I prefer to use the positive numbers just because I like them. And I'm going to count my slope. Okay, rise is 2. Run is -7. So my slope is -2/7. Y minus X minus, okay, and do my Y equals, and I'm not going to distribute this because it's not going to distribute nicely, so I'm not going to. Just writing the equation. There's nothing wrong with leaving the equation in the point slope format. It's very informative. Leave it there.
Is it like what if we did the slope at -4, 3 and -1, 2? Would it would just be different numbers, but it'd be the end of the
So okay, so look closely. If that slope, it doesn't work if you keep counting it. Okay? So usually I had to run it through the copier, so apparently they got shifted just slightly. But look, just count it the whole way and make sure the slope works for the whole graph. So here, that 3 slope doesn't quite work as you count it across. Yeah. All right. Yellow. Okay. Yellow, I've got a couple points here. 3, 4, 7, 4. And it appears as though my slope is 0. Because it's a horizontal line. Okay. Horizontal lines, you can still use this format if you want. Y minus equals slope X minus. This one, however, I am going to multiply. 0 times anything is 0. And then I end up with a +4. And I get just y equals 4. That's it. Okay. So we've got the pink. Right, there's the pink part. This is the yellow part. Notice that the y equals part, that's not the part I'm highlighting. I just want the equation part, the other side. And I'm just going to write this equation right below here because I already used up all my space. Okay. -2/7 x minus 3 plus 1, comma, domain. and 4, comma, need the domain. Okay, yes.
If you had, if there was a graph that just had like one closed float, like we had earlier, and you had to write that out, is there a wrong, I mean, there could be multiple answers.
There's 2 acceptable answers to that particular question. So let's do our domain here, and then I'll show you the 2 ways to write that. Okay, so my pink domain is x less than, not including 3. Okay, and this one, not including 3, including 7. All right. Okay, I'm just going to show you something here, and then we're going to switch to our work time. So you don't necessarily have to write this one down, but you can if you want. There was a question about what happens if you have just like, we'll say a closed point, and then we'll do an open point. So this is at 2, 3, just so that you can see it. And I'll just count, I'll just do a 1 slope here, okay? This is just an example, because this is a great question, because this is sometimes one of the trickier ones that we might do. You're like, oh, okay, well, what is this? So there's 2 ways to think of this. You can do this in 2 different parts, right? You can think of it like this, okay? And then I just have the point here, okay? That's one way to consider this. Now I picked a pretty simple line. So this is the equation x plus 3. That's the equation of this line. And I can tell that this works. So the first thing that you could do to write this equation is it's kind of in 3 pieces. X plus 3 for x is less than 2. Okay, then I get the yellow at 3 for x equals 2. And then the green is x plus 3 for x is to the right of 2. So you can do it in 3 parts. But then you kind of look at this, you're like, pink and green are the same equation. So then you could also do those together, right? That's that 1 not equals 2 format. Pink and green happen to be the same line. Guys, put your ruler up. Oh, that's the exact same line. Okay, so is this wrong? Absolutely not. That's acceptable. I would take anything that's accurate, I accept. Okay, or maybe you're fancy and you notice and you say, well, that's for everything except 2. It's the same thing, guys. It's just different ways to write this domain. One of them I wrote in 2 pieces. One of them I wrote in 1. Okay? Because it was actually the same line, I could have considered the whole piece orange just with how I wrote the domain.